The elevator doors slid open on the 47th floor of Meridian Technologies, and Marcus Chen stumbled out. His designer suit rumpled, his eyes red and swollen. The golden boy of corporate America, heir to a billion-dollar empire, looked like he'd been shattered into 1,000 pieces. "Please!" he gasped, grabbing the arm of the first person he saw. It happened to be Daniel Torres, the night janitor, pushing his cleaning cart down the marble hallway. "Please, you have to help me. My mom's dying." Daniel looked up, startled. He'd worked at Meridian for 15 years. Always invisible, always in the background. Executives like Marcus Chen didn't even know his name. They looked through him like he was made of glass. But tonight, something was different. The young man before him wasn't an executive. He was just a terrified son. "Slow down," Daniel said gently, his weathered hand steadying Marcus's shaking shoulders. "Tell me what's happening." Marcus's words tumbled out in a desperate torrent. His mother had collapsed at home. Brain aneurysm. The ambulance had taken her to Metro General. But the surgery, the only thing that could save her, cost $380,000. His father, the CEO, was overseas in Singapore, unreachable for another 8 hours due to some critical merger negotiation. All the family accounts required dual signatures for large withdrawals. Marcus had tried everything: banks, financial advisors, emergency lines, but it was 11 p.m., and bureaucracy didn't care about dying mothers. "I've called everyone," Marcus choked out. "Every contact in my phone. Friends, business partners, my father's associates. They all said the same thing. They need time, paperwork, authorization. But my mom doesn't have time. The doctors said she has maybe 4 hours. Before—" His voice broke completely. Daniel looked at this young man, probably 28, maybe 30, who had everything money could buy except the one thing he needed right now: time. "How much did you say?" Daniel asked quietly. $380,000. "I know it's impossible. I don't know what to do. I'm standing here in my father's company, surrounded by all this wealth, and I can't save my own mother." Marcus slid down the wall, his head in his hands. "I've never felt so powerless in my entire life." Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out his phone, an old model, the screen cracked in one corner. His fingers moved slowly, deliberately. Marcus barely noticed, lost in his own despair. "What's the hospital account number?" Daniel asked. Marcus looked up, confused. "What?" "The hospital. For the wire transfer." "What's the account number?" I don't understand." Daniel met his eyes. "Your mother needs surgery. Give me the information. Mr. Torres, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I need $380,000. I've already maxed out my personal credit. Cards that got me to $50,000. I know what you need," Daniel interrupted softly. "The account number, please." With trembling hands, Marcus pulled up the hospital's payment portal on his phone. Daniel took it, squinted at the screen, and began entering information into his banking app. The silence stretched between them, broken only by the hum of fluorescent lights and the distant ding of elevators. "There," Daniel said finally, handing the phone back. "It's done." Marcus stared at the screen. "Transaction complete. $330,000 transferred to Metro General Hospital." He looked up at the janitor in his faded blue uniform, his mind unable to process what had just happened. How did you... Mr. Torres, where did you get... "Your mother is waiting," Daniel said firmly. "Go to the hospital. Right now. We can talk about the rest later." Marcus's legs moved on autopilot. He ran to the elevator, then turned back. "I'll pay you back. I swear, the moment my father lands." "I said go," Daniel repeated, but there was a smile in his eyes. "Save your mother." The next morning, the story spread through Meridian Technologies like wildfire. The CEO's son had been saved by the janitor. But it wasn't until James Chen himself returned from Singapore and heard what happened that anyone understood the full picture. James Chen stood in the boardroom looking at Daniel Torres, who'd been called up from his night shift. The executive team filled the chairs around the table, confused about why a janitor had been summoned to the inner sanctum. "Tell them," James said, his voice thick with emotion his employees had never heard before. "Tell them who you are." Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Chen, that's not necessary." "It's absolutely necessary," James insisted. These people work alongside you every day and they have no idea. Daniel sighed. My name is Daniel Torres. 20 years ago, I was the founder and CEO of Torres Medical Solutions. We developed an early AI diagnostic system. The company was valued at nearly $900 million. The room went silent. My daughter Sophia was diagnosed with leukemia when she was 6. I spent 3 years fighting for her life. The best doctors. Experimental treatments, anything that might save her. I spent every penny I had. When the money ran out, I sold my company for a fraction of its worth, just to keep her in treatment. His voice remained steady, but his eyes glistened. She died 2 weeks after her 9th birthday. Someone in the room gasped. After that, I didn't want the money back. I didn't want the empire, the success, any of it. I took a job as a janitor because I needed simplicity. I needed to work with my hands, to be invisible, to heal. Over the years, I've lived modestly, saved carefully. Last night, when I saw a son fighting for his mother the way I fought for my daughter, I knew exactly what that money was for. Marcus, standing beside his father, had tears streaming down his face. My mother survived the surgery. She's going to make a full recovery. Because of you! But that's not the end of the story, James Chen said, his voice now addressing his executive team. This morning I made some calls. Daniel, you sold Torres Medical Solutions for $47 million. Dollars in an emergency sale 20 years ago. The company that bought it just got acquired last month. Want to know what it sold for? Daniel shook his head. I don't care about $2.3 billion, James continued. Your technology became the foundation for the most advanced diagnostic AI in healthcare. You were lowballed when you were desperate. You were robbed. I got what I needed at the time, Daniel said simply. It kept Sophia comfortable in her final days. That's all that mattered. James walked over to Daniel and extended his hand. You saved my son's mother. You gave him something priceless. But more than that, you taught this entire company, this entire building, full of MBAs and executives, what real wealth looks like. It's not in the accounts. It's not in the stock options. It's in being the kind of person who, even after losing everything, still gives everything they have to save a stranger's mother. He turned to his executive team. Effective immediately, Daniel Torres is joining our board of directors. Not because of his past achievements, but because of his present character. This company needs his perspective more than it needs another person who can read a spreadsheet. The room erupted in applause, but Daniel held up his hand. I appreciate this, Mr. Chen, I really do. But I'd like to keep my night janitor position. Everyone stared. I've found peace in this work, Daniel explained. But I'll join your board. And I know exactly what I want to do with that position. I want Meridian Technologies to establish a fund, a real fund, for employees and their families facing medical emergencies. Nobody should have to choose between their life savings and their loved one's life. Nobody should feel what Marcus felt last night or what I felt 20 years ago. Marcus stepped forward. The Marcus and Linda Chen Emergency Medical Fund. My mother already agreed. We're starting it with $10 million, and I'm matching it, James added. $20 million to start. Daniel, you'll oversee it all. Daniel nodded slowly, then smiled, the first real smile many of them had seen from the quiet night janitor. Then I accept, but I'm still keeping my cleaning cart. There's something honest about mopping floors that keeps a man grounded. 3 months later, Marcus Chen walked through the 47th floor of Meridian. Technologies at 11 p.m., he found Daniel pushing his cart, humming softly to himself. Mom asked me to give you this, Marcus said, handing over a photo. It showed Linda Chen, recovered and radiant, standing in her garden. On the back, she'd written, To the man who gave me my tomorrows, thank you will never be enough. Daniel studied the photo, his eyes soft. How is she? She's perfect. Planning her 60th birthday party next month. You're invited, of course. Your family now. I'd like that, Daniel said. Marcus hesitated, then added, I've been thinking about that night a lot. You didn't even know my mother. You'd never met me before. Why did you do it? Daniel was quiet for a moment, running his hand along the handle of his mop. Because someone's mother is always someone's whole world. I couldn't save my daughter, but I could save your mother. Sometimes that's all the reason you need. As Marcus walked back to the elevator, he looked around at the gleaming office space, the expensive art, the prestigious awards, the symbols of corporate success. But the most valuable thing in this building he now understood: wore a janitor's uniform and pushed a cleaning cart. The memo went out company-wide the next morning. Remember, greatness isn't measured by what you have. It's measured by what you give when you have every reason to keep it for yourself. At the bottom, it was signed by the entire board of directors. But everyone knew whose words they really were. The janitor who taught an empire what it means to be rich.